But Timothy Donovan's illness had an even better disguise. In 1986, Kathleen and Dennis Donovan give birth to their second child, Timothy. Aside from being on the small side, he's healthy. Then, at 15 months, the moment his mother has been waiting for happens.
When Tim and I'd be driving down to the babysitter, I'd look in the rearview mirror to keep checking on him back there, and I looked in one day and I saw the blood coming, and I went, oh well, we have a bleeder.
Nosebleeds have always been common in his father Dennis's family.
It was almost as if it was a badge of honor.
It's just common policy in our family. We have nosebleeds.
But other than the nosebleeds, which weren't all that frequent, Tim has a healthy childhood. In 1999, Tim, now 13, is about to start the 8th grade and is required to show that all his vaccinations are up to date. He goes to see his family physician, Dr. Andrew Hirsch.
I had said to Dr. Hirsch, he never had chickenpox. And he said, was he exposed? I said, yeah.
And in that kind of situation, I like to make sure before I give someone a vaccination whether or not they truly need it. So we did blood work.
The blood tests reveal that Tim does indeed need a vaccination for chickenpox. But the blood tests also show something else.
His red blood cell count came back a little bit high. The typicals go a little over 15 to 16 for a hemoglobin count. His was a little over 17.
Hemoglobin are the red blood cells that carry oxygen through the body.
I was definitely concerned in this situation. First of all, elevated red counts can be normal, although they can herald a whole host of other conditions. Mostly I was concerned initially about a potential underlying cancer.
Kathleen and Dennis Donovan have just received terrifying news about their 13-year-old son, Tim. His yearly checkup reveals an elevated red cell count, and their family physician wants them to see a pediatric oncologist.
And I said to him, I know what you're looking for. You're looking for leukemia. I kind of felt like sick to my stomach, like all of a sudden, this isn't something that was just going to go away. It's frightening,
My mom didn't tell me this at first. She just said that there was something wrong with blood count, but it wasn't dangerous. We might have to go for more blood.
What started out as a simple physical is now turning into a parent's worst nightmare. The Donovans immediately make an appointment with an oncologist.
I remember sitting there with my mom and my dad, and it was like 2 other families there.
It's a doctor's office for children, and it's cancer. And so, it's a little very intimidating, very scary to be sitting there. Is that what he's going to look like? Is this what's going to happen?
The oncologist performs a thorough examination of Tim.
You're looking at the doctor's face. Maybe they're going to give you a clue, like, okay, what does she think?
The doctor draws blood and orders a battery of tests. But it will be 2 weeks before the results are back. It is the longest 2 weeks of their lives.
You try to have a normal, everyday life. You just have to. At least the appearances are that it's normal. As a parent, it's very hard to explain the feeling that you have. Very anxious, a lot of anxiety. But at the same token, we felt we had to be strong.
And obviously we didn't sleep. And, you just sort of got to get up, got to go to work. For us, it just was a matter of just keeping busy because there was nothing you could do.
Finally, the call they've been waiting for comes. Tim's red count is still high, but he doesn't have leukemia.
You stand there and everything just drains out of you. And it's a good drain because, okay, it's not that.
You feel like $1 million. We couldn't wait to get on the phone and tell our families. But then we were kind of stymied because we still didn't know what was wrong.
Then, over the next few months, things get worse as Tim develops a series of strange bronchial infections.
And I got the cold. I get an antibiotic for it. It'd be fine. And then, like a week later, it'd come back. Like it never actually went away.
I went back to Dr. Hirsch and I said to him, now he's sick again. He can't get rid of the cold.
And I started getting frustrated because I was coughing all the time and I was sniffing all the time.
I looked back at his chart and I really felt that something else was going on.
While Dr. Hirsch tries to decipher what's going on, Tim notices another change in himself.
I started taking naps more often. It kind of progressed into 2, 3, sometimes even 4 a week. I just thought that it was the basketball was taking a lot out of me and school was taking a lot out of me.
Tim's basketball coach sees a difference too. The normally energetic 13-year-old has slowed down significantly.
And he had said, you know, I noticed that Tim's having trouble going up and down the court, that he's getting tired, you know, not that he's out of breath. There's a difference.
Then, seemingly out of the blue, Tim develops an unusual throat infection.
My mouth was kind of sore, and it was getting to me. And I kept telling my mom, you know, there's something wrong, there's something wrong, there's something wrong.
Kathleen immediately takes him back to Dr. Hirsch.
His throat was very raw. He had patches of white exudate or pus throughout the mouth, and it actually looked a little bit like thrush, which is more of a yeast infection, which is very unusual.
And I said to him, well, where would that come from? He said it could come from because he's been on antibiotics so much since, like, October. But, you know, he said, it's not normal.
Thrush is a yeast infection of the mouth, usually found in infants, the elderly, and people whose immune systems are suppressed by disease or medical treatment. Dr. Hirsch is baffled.
He said, well, there's something going on here that I don't like, and we're going to have to pursue it further.
I said to myself, especially with the way he looked, that I just had to, for my own peace of mind, repeat an evaluation. So I sent him for a chest x-ray, because I think we needed it at this time.
Just a few days later, the x-rays come back.
And the phone rang, and it was Dr. Hirsch.
And he said to me that the radiologist saw something. He said, but I got to tell you, I don't believe what he's telling me is true.
I did have to see it for myself. And I ran right after hours over to the hospital and took a look at the films, and there it was.